When everything is bad, stay silent. Hi friends. I'm glad to see you in my space. Today we're going to talk about the most important thing, how to maintain inner peace when it seems like everything is falling apart around you. Why do some people get lost in crisis while others find the strength not just to survive but to grow? And most importantly, how to stop that inner voice that amplifies pain and turns small problems into huge tragedies. If you've ever felt how thoughts start consuming you, how anxiety won't let you rest, as if there's someone inside who's deliberately tormenting you, this video is exactly for you. Why some people drown in problems while others stay calm even in chaos. Imagine two people in exactly the same life situation. Both lost their jobs, relationships are falling apart, health problems, financial difficulties. One literally drowns in the situation, panics, gets angry, blames everyone around, loses sleep and appetite. The other, despite the external difficulty, maintains inner peace, continues to act, and after some time their situation starts to improve. What's the difference? One thing, thought. Thought is not just words in your head. It's a powerful force that can either lift you to the top or drag you to the bottom. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. When something goes wrong, our body reacts instantly, heart rate increases, muscles tense, adrenaline levels rise in the blood. This is a normal physiological stress response. But here's the paradox: most people experiencing this primary bodily reaction start amplifying it with thoughts. You lose your job. The first 30 seconds, it's just information. But then you start thinking, that's it, I'm bankrupt. No one will take me anymore. I'm a failure. I have a family, children, mortgage. And now it's not just job loss, but a whole drama with catastrophic proportions. You break up. The first minutes, it's just the pain of loss. But then, I'll never love again. All men and women are like that. No one needs me. My life is over. And loneliness turns into a tragedy of world proportions. You get sick. The first minutes, it's just a diagnosis. But then, I'm done. I'll die young. No one needs me sick. My career is over. And illness becomes a death sentence. Here's the main secret: pain is amplified not by the situation itself, but by your reaction to it. Thought acts like a magnifying glass, focusing and amplifying the initial discomfort to unbearable levels. Imagine you have a radio host living in your head who comments on everything that happens 24 hours a day. And this host is a complete pessimist. He always sees the worst, always predicts catastrophe, always looks for problems where there aren't any. This is exactly how our inner critic works, amplifying every little thing to the scale of world catastrophe. The truth about why your negative reaction amplifies pain. Let's understand why this happens. Our brain is designed to always look for threats. This is an evolutionary survival mechanism. But in the modern world, where real life-threatening dangers are much fewer than in the Stone Age, this mechanism works against us. When you lose your job, your brain perceives this as a survival threat. In ancient times, without a job you could actually die. Now it's just a career change. But the brain doesn't make the difference. It triggers the same reaction as with real danger. And here's where it gets really interesting. You're not just reacting to job loss. You start creating a whole movie in your head about how everything will be bad. And the more you think about it, the more real this made-up story becomes. It's like watching a horror movie, but instead of understanding it's a movie, you start fearing that all this will happen to you in real life. You'd start taking measures as if it were reality. This is exactly how pain amplification by thoughts works. You create a parallel reality in your head that's many times worse than what's actually happening. What a conscious person does when everything is terrible: a conscious person is not someone who doesn't experience pain. It's someone who understands that pain is part of life, but suffering is a choice. When the moment comes when everything is terrible, a conscious person takes several simple but powerful steps. First, they stop. They don't immediately start running around, calling everyone, looking for culprits or planning escape. They simply stop. They give themselves permission to feel what's happening inside without needing to do something about it. It's like walking through a forest and suddenly realizing you're going the wrong way. The first thing you do is stop. You don't start running in another direction, hoping that will help. You just stop and look around to understand where you are. Second, they notice thoughts. Instead of diving into the stream of anxious thoughts, they start observing them. Here's that thought again that everything is over. Here's fear about the future again. Interesting. Where do they come from? It's like watching clouds and just observing how they float across the sky. No need to stop or change them. Just observation. Third, they return to the body. They feel where in the body this pain is, how it feels physically. Where is the tension? Where is the discomfort? What's happening right now, not in the imagined future? Because real pain is what you feel right now, not what will happen in a month or what didn't happen yesterday. Fourth, they ask themselves, what's really important right now? Not what will happen in a month, not what should have happened yesterday, but what's important right here and now. And often it turns out that right now everything is not that terrible. Right now you're alive. Right now you're breathing. Right now you can accept this. A conscious person understands that pain is not an enemy. Pain is just a signal, like a car's sound signal. It doesn't mean the car is broken. It's just a reminder to pay attention. How to stop destructive thoughts when your body is already at its limit. When you're already at your limit, this is the most difficult moment. The body is tense, thoughts jump around. It seems like everything will collapse at any moment. But exactly at this moment, you need to remember one simple truth: the thought that's tormenting you now is not reality. It's just a thought. Here are several techniques that work in critical moments. The stop frame technique: when you feel thoughts starting to carry you away into panic, just say to yourself, stop, and make a pause. Don't try to analyze or fight, just stop. It's like watching a movie and suddenly realizing you're watching the wrong thing. You just press the pause button, and in this pause, space for choice appears. The 5 4 3 to 1 technique: name 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you feel by touch, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. This brings you back to the present, because when you're in the present moment, anxiety loses its power. Anxiety is always about the future, and the present is always safe. The observer technique: imagine you're sitting in a movie theater watching a movie called My Thoughts. You're not an actor in this movie, you're a viewer. Thoughts come and go like frames on a screen, and you understand that you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing thoughts, and this is a fundamental difference. The breathing anchor technique: just follow your breathing. Don't try to control it, just observe. Each inhale is an anchor to the present, each exhale is letting go. Breathing is always here, always now, and when you focus on it, you automatically return to the present. Why sometimes it's better to do nothing than to continue suffering mentally. In the modern world, we're taught that we always need to do something. Act, solve, fight, change. But there are moments when the best action is no action. Why? Because in a mind overloaded with anxiety and fear, any actions become distorted. You start making decisions based on fear, not common sense. You start seeing enemies where there aren't any. You start taking steps that you later have to cancel. Sometimes it's better to just sit down. Sit in silence. Give yourself time to settle, like a shaken drink. When the sediment settles, you can see what's actually happening. When you do nothing, you give yourself a chance to see that most problems you create in your mind don't exist in reality. They exist only in your imagination, in your forecasts, in your fears. It's like watching a horror movie, but at some point realizing it's just a movie. And then the fear passes because you understand it's not real. The power of silence in moments of chaos: silence is not passivity. Silence is a powerful active state. When you're silent, you give yourself the opportunity to hear the inner voice that's usually drowned out by the noise of thoughts. When you're silent, you stop amplifying pain with your reactions. You simply allow the situation to be what it is without needing to fix it immediately. When you're silent, you create space between yourself and the problem. And in this space, clarity is born. In this space, you can see that the problem is not you. The problem is just a situation. and you are not your situation. In this space, you can see that you are more than your pain. You are more than your thoughts. You are more than your fears. In this space, you can see that you are a whole world. And in this world, there's room for everything, for pain, for joy, and for everything in between. How to learn this and practice, this is not theory that can be understood by mind. This is a skill that needs to be practiced. Here are several practical steps. Daily mindfulness practice, 10 minutes a day, just observing yourself. What do you feel? What are you thinking? How do you breathe? Without judgments, without trying to change. It's like training in a gym. The more you train, the stronger you become. Only in this case, you're training not muscles, but mindfulness. Working with triggers, pay attention to which situations cause strong reactions in you. What exactly triggers the chain of anxious thoughts? When you understand this, you can prepare. For example, if you know that job loss causes panic in you, you can prepare techniques in advance to help you cope with this. Creating stopping rituals, everyone should have their own way to stop. It could be a deep breath, it could be touching something cold, it could be simply saying out loud, "I'm stopping." It's like a traffic light signal. Red light means stop. And you teach yourself to stop when your inner traffic light shows red. Developing tolerance for discomfort, we're used to immediately eliminating any discomfort. But sometimes discomfort is just a signal, not an enemy. Learn to tolerate it without panicking. It's like learning to swim. At first, the water seems cold and unpleasant, but the more you're in it, the more comfortable you become in it. What happens when you stop amplifying pain? When you stop amplifying pain with thoughts, something amazing happens. Pain becomes just pain. Not a catastrophe, not a tragedy, not the end of the world. Just an unpleasant feeling that passes with time. You start seeing that most problems you created in your mind don't materialize. Many fears don't come true. Many ends of the world turn out to be just turns on the path. You start trusting yourself, because you see that even in the most difficult moments you survived. Even when it seemed everything was over, you found the strength to continue. It's like being a child who's afraid of the dark. But one day you understood that there's nothing scary in the dark. And then the fear went away because you saw the truth. You start understanding that you are not your thoughts. You are not your fears. You are not your problems. You are the one observing all this. And in this understanding, freedom is born. Freedom from fear. Freedom from anxiety. Freedom from the need to control everything. Conclusion: the art of silence. The art of silence is not the ability to say nothing. It's the ability not to amplify pain with your thoughts. It's the ability to find peace in the middle of a storm. It's the ability to see clarity through the fog of anxiety. When everything is bad, be silent, not because you're weak, but because you're strong enough not to amplify pain, not because you don't hurt, but because you understand that pain is just part of the journey. Next time when life seems unbearable to you, remember you don't have to fight everything at once. You don't have to solve all problems immediately. You have the right to just be, have the right to just breathe, have the right to just exist in this moment, whatever it is. Because in this is the essence. In this is your strength. In this is your salvation. Be silent. Just be silent. And everything will be fine. In the channel profile header, you'll find links to online training as well as the author's books. There you'll find practical tools that will help you apply all this in practice. Remember, when everything is bad, stay silent. Because words said in a state of pain often become the cause of even greater pain. And silence is the space where clarity is born, where the path forward appears. Thank you for being with me. See you in this space. Silence, mindfulness, peace, thoughts, pain, suffering, consciousness, spirituality, inner peace, life, path, development, self-awareness, psychology, emotions, self-development, mind, soul, harmony, balance, simplicity, clarity, reflection, inner world. Journey to self.